In this lesson, we're continuing we did the breast in the last lesson. We're going to continue the midsection that we kind of started doing in the last lesson. So we got this kind of rib cage geometry here, basic hip. No, not the hip, the waist. I guess that line going across is the waist. That kind of cuts across right above the belly button if you look at like a body diagram. And we're going to have to add other things to this, like the love handles and the hip bones. The hips are kind of, for me, have always been one of the more complicated. My cut tool is malfunctioning. What's going on here? Go back to object mode, split polygon tool, and make that cut. There we go. Only took like 5 minutes to make that cut. I hope it takes you not as long. And I'm glad you got to watch me do that. That was very inspirational. Okay, so you could see that's kind of like a rib cage outline. We're trying to follow along with the body here. All right, we're going to try and create another split right there. And create an edge loop. There we go. Right there. So pull in the waist. This is the waist. And then down from the waist is the love handles. Blanking on what they're called. And then right below the love handles is the hips. So there's kind of, below the waist there's these 3 bumps. The love handles, the hip bone, and the side of the leg, which is the the bone of the femur kind of jutting out and the muscle going over it. It's usually simplified in like a basic female hourglass shape, but then if you start going into more detail, you'll see that there's more kind of bumps and stuff in there that just look at a front view of a female, like in a bikini or something or whatever, and you'll see. So here I'm trying to see these edges aren't going to be as kind of smoothed out and neat as the other ones. They're going to look a little bit more kinked and bent because I'm actually trying to create kind of kinks and bends in the geometry with as little verts as possible. So I'm looking at the side, and as I'm looking at this, I'm trying to gauge, is this right? I'm trying to just see it from every angle. And that's probably too much of a kink right there. Alright, so that looks decent, except the love handles, they go up, they're more kind of towards the back, and they should be angling down in the front. Right now they're just going completely across, which doesn't look totally right. And we'll fix that. Obliques, I guess that's what they're called. Just popped into my head. The obliques. Love handles. Obliques. Okay. So you can see that bump when we go to the back view, and from the front view you can see how there's that other little bump that comes right below the waist, and that's the obliques. trying to add more cuts to make these legs a little bit more separate. Again, I'm trying to create this. I could easily put another edge in there, but I don't really want to. I just want to create, you know, something with what I got for now. Don't want to make a big mess because I'll have to clean it up later. Okay, so carefully just check out each vert and move it to where it looks pleasing, and then check it out from every angle. See, we're starting to develop like the edge of a hip right now. You're starting to see it. Even though we got this seemingly kind of smooth geometry, there's some underlying bone and muscle structure that kind of starts to emerge, which is really cool. So trying to create a crease kind of under the rib cage here. Right. And match it up to that side view. Just keep, as you're working, I try to, you know, work in a combination of kind of eyeballing it from perspective view and then going back to the diagram that I made for myself, the kind of the roadmap, if you will, the roadmap for my model, keeping myself on track so I don't start going into crazy land, making things warped out and thinking they look right when they're actually not right. And then as I'm working, I'm actually checking out all these other things and making sure that, see, that makes a good difference right there. Making sure that other things are clean as well. You'll sort of notice things, you know, as you're looking at one thing, you'll start to notice, you know, other things, obviously. All right. And the next lesson will be continuing the midsection and adding a little more detail.